Hi, folks. Hey, glad to see somebody's jumping in. Hey, Bradley, I gotta swap my glasses. Where the heck did I put? Oh, there they are, right in front of me. Last place you should look is on your face when you're looking for your glasses, right? The glasses I'm wearing aren't worth a darn for distance. And there we go. Now I can see my chat. Um, yeah, Bradley. Hey, good to see ya. I hope I'm coming in okay. Hope everything's streaming good. Um, yeah. Cabs. Hey, Joe Cook. Thanks for jumping in. That's great to see ya. Great to see ya. Yeah, I was just saying to Bradley that, yeah, Cab 7, he just jumped on live. He just jumped on live. I looked at my list and, hey, Rodney, great to see ya. Great, great, great. I, um, I looked at my list of my typical other channels I follow, and holy smokes, there's 7 other live streams running tonight, and some of us are kind of overlapping. So, all of you folks jumping on, you don't know how privileged Sty feels on his first Sty Story Sunday to see all you folks jumping on. I've got Bradley in here, I've got Joe Cook in here, I've got Rodney in here, I've got Tevin. Hey, that's my grandson, my oldest grandson. And I've got 40 Below Life. Hello from Alaska. That is just too awesome. That is just too awesome that you're here. Todd, my best buddy, Todd. Oh man, I could go on about Todd half the night. Canoe Hound. Day 2 of retirement. Are you bored yet? No, but we're going to get into what I am after last night. Hike with Mike. Thanks for coming over. I was just saying hi to Mike over at another stream. Great that you came over, buddy. Sean Carl. Oh, thanks. Yeah, retirement's going to be good. Sean, our Hike with Mike said, Sty, did you see Pappy Swamper on Campfire Steve's channel? No, I didn't yet. But I'm going to get over there. I'm going to get over there probably yet tonight. I got a bunch of things I got to do after my stream. A-OK Foraging and Adventures. Awesome, folks. A-OK is great. I'll tell you what. Thack and Brenda over there they're great. But Thack, your cooking videos lately, it's just been killing me. Just killing me. I'm just an old bachelor and I watch your recipes and I go, God, how do I cut that down to about a fourth? I want to try it, but yeah, I'll figure it out. Oh, you're doing some good cooking over there. Old man's in the house. Great to see you, old man. Gary Irwin. He says, tell us a story, Sty. Yeah, we'll be getting to the story pretty quick here. Canoe Hound saying hi to everybody. And hey, old man, A-OK's looking for your email. You better get it over there to him. Yeah. What a great bunch. Yeah, that's amazing. I love it. I just love it. I mean, they have 14 people in the house and the stream just started. That's a first for Sty. Usually I have Plain Old Chuck. Everybody say hi to Plain Old Chuck. It's great that you're here, buddy. But usually my stream starts out with 3 to 5 people for the first 15, 20 minutes, and then people start getting on. And boy, it is just wonderful to see this many people jumping on right at the get-go. especially when there's a world of streams available to folks. It's just, yeah, you really honor me. Rolling Homestead, he says, this is for your Piss It Away Fund. All the best, my friend. Oh, my Lord. Rolling Homestead? Oh, you guys. Oh. Yeah, everybody check out Rolling Homestead. He's one of my original YouTubers. I don't know. I can't remember who subbed to who first. Him to me or me to him. But we were both super young channels at the time. I mean, we hardly had anything up on our channels. And every time either one of us would post something, the other one's on there commenting and saying, wow, hey, that's great, that's super. And I don't know about you, Rolling Homestead, but I look back at my originals, my first, and I just laugh. I just laugh. I go, wow, boy, time has really changed how things have progressed in our channels. And Rolling Homesteads, I'm telling you what, his has super expanded. It's just awesome. I mean, he's gone so far with his. It's great. Oh, man. Rodney says, Sty says he was tired yesterday and he is tired again today, so he is happily retired. I love that one, Rodney. I've got some of the most wittiest people on my channel. I tell you what, Sty, the tobacco incident I told you about was the short version. Well, I assumed it was. Someday, old man, we're gonna need the long version. Plain Old Chuck says stopped in to see what a retired YouTuber looks like. Yeah. Lynn Clark, Mr. Z, welcome both of you. Awesome. Thank you for stopping in. And thank you for the congratulations. He says, you're a cool cat. Great vibes all the way from the UK. I love it. Boy, my UK followers, I got so many. And they're all great. Well, everybody that comes to my channel is great. Here comes Running Water. I got kind of a little surprise later if Cheesehead jumps in. Cheesehead Chris is one of my moderators, and he's just an old buddy of mine. And if any of you haven't seen interaction between me and Cheesehead, it can get pretty funny sometimes. Yeah, it's great. Now, first thing I'm going to do because what I prefer to do is, on Sty Story Sundays, I'm going to start the Sty Story about the actual story about quarter after or so. And then I'm just going to go through the Sty Story. I'm not going to be able to watch you guys on the chat. I'll go through the Sty Story. After I'm done with the Sty Story, I'm going to back up in the chat ways, look what you guys are talking about. And then we're going to discuss the story and anything that you have to say about your experiences that you can relate to it. And then you can fill me in. Did you like the story or not? Yeah. Andy. Hey, here comes Andy. Yeah. Guess who else shat their bed here in the UK? Hike with Mike. You know you are getting old when you play the slot machines and three Bruins are the winning slots. You get 3 Bruins and the first thing out of your mouth is, it's time to go. Riverbend Longbows and Outdoors is here. Awesome. Just saying hi for a few minutes. Gotta help with supper soon. If I miss Cheesehead, tell him I said hey. Oh, there's Cheesehead right there, Riverbend. Cheesehead. See, I told you about Cheesehead. He says, I already don't like the story. Okay. Now, okay. I've got an awesome photo of Cheesehead. Oh, there he is. Oh, hi, Cheesehead. Isn't that great? Running Water managed to snap that picture of Cheesehead the other day. Oh, okay. Yeah, Riverbend, there he is. Oh, Lordy. Oh, Lordy. Last night, guys, before I get into the story here, I want to just, for those that weren't here last night, I did a retirement stream. I started my stream at 10:15 p.m. last night, Central Time. We didn't shut it down till 8 hours later. My God. I tell you what, I felt like $1 million when we shut it down. I tried to go to bed last night, or this morning. I thought I'll get a few hours of sleep. By the time I got in bed, it was about 10 to 8. I was up at 9:30. My first full day of retirement has been in a fog. I looked outside and I go, oh, it's got to be because I didn't get any sleep and I can't see nothing. Well, then I looked at the weather report and it said that there was heavy fog. Thank God. I thought it was me. But I couldn't believe we went 8 hours last night. 8 hours last night. It was absolutely insane. But what a blast. What a blast. Cheesehead's reminding me that that picture's the wrong end of him. It needs to be turned around. That's it, yeah. He can be one of those. Gotta love him anyway. I tell you what, my day isn't the same whenever I'm on a stream if Cheesehead ain't in the house. Yeah, Sean, we'll see ya. We'll be here. These Sty Story Sundays, this is the very first Sty Story Sunday. These will go on as long as I'm kicking. And they'll always be at 7 p.m. No matter how many other streams are out there, mine will always be at 7 p.m. I'll do the Sty Story up front, like I was saying. And when I'm done with the Sty Story, then we'll just go crazy in the chat. We'll just take it from there. And Gemma, hi. It's so good to see you, Gemma. Gemma's such a great gal. She's so sweet. If you guys haven't checked out Gemma, you should. She is she is a great, great supporter of people in their channels. Ashley Miller, hello. Hello. Welcome to the Sty Shack. It's like I always say, Sty Shack, the door's always open. Come on in. If Cheesehead's not standing in the way. Cheesehead, someday I'm going to be in your house for one of these. That's going to be a problem. WTF Mike, hey, great to see ya. Great to see you. My gosh, great. I got to take a quick peek at my stats here. Yeah, Lord have mercy. We're at about 20 folks in the house already, and it's just been 15 minutes. So I'm going to Running Water quit sending me stuff while I'm streaming. You know I'm not looking at it till after the stream. Oh, I had to adjust. My legs have been bumming me all day sitting in this chair for 8 hours last night. But Okay, we're going to get on. We're going to get on with the Sty Story for tonight. And and now this one, I think you might get a chuckle on it. Okay, the title of this Sty Story is Where's Your Pants? And I know darn well some people are thinking, where in the heck is he going with that? Where is he going with the where's his pants thing? Okay, now this puts us way back. I believe 6 years old at the time. Now when I was growing up, when I was a little guy, we lived in this tiny little house. We had a family of 6. I had 3 siblings and the parents, of course. And we called it the basement house because the house, it got constructed as far as the basement. They never built the house on top of the basement. They just put a roof over the top of the basement and said, oh, the heck with it, we'll just make a 2-bedroom house out of it. Well, that's where I was born and spent the first 4 years. We went from that house to this huge 2.5-story Victorian style home on a hill sitting on about 4 acres of land. And at the back of our property there was a huge wetland, a huge swamp. And out in the middle of that swamp there was a little island that was covered with big oak trees. That whole dang island was almost all oak trees, big oak trees. And just beyond that island you had more swamp, and then it turned into lake. There was a big lake. Okay, now my folks, they taught us kids, we called it the invisible fence. Whenever we'd go somewhere, one of our folks, my pop or my mom, they'd take us for a walk around where we were and say, this is as far as you get to go. Now they weren't kidding. We treated it like an electric fence because you're going to feel like you sat on some bare electric wires if they caught you beyond that boundary that they set. So we called it the invisible fence. Don't go beyond the invisible fence. Well, there was this family that my family was very close to. My pop and mom were friends with these folks for ages. And they had kids that were close to my age. Well, they had a daughter that was actually my age. Well, as 2 kids, we're growing up together. We play all the time, at their house, at our house. Knew each other really well. Well, they were over visiting one day, and everybody's in the house. Well, me and their daughter, Denise, Ashley Miller, I only stopped because I caught that out of the corner of my eye. God bless you. God bless you. Supporting the channel. So anyway, we're in the backyard, and our yard, I got a couple of stories about this, but the backyard, it was, we lived way up on the hill, and it was kind of flat, and then it dropped, and it went all the way down to that big swamp. Well, now that swamp was about 3/4 of a mile across. It's a huge swamp with that island kind of in the middle. Well, me and Denise, this girl, we're sitting in my backyard looking out over that swamp. And she goes, what is that out on that island? And I go, what? And she goes, it's up in a big tree. What is that? And I go, oh, that's a tree house. And she goes, have you been there? I said, oh yeah, I've been there. I lied through my teeth. I've been there so many times. I had at that point only heard about it from my brother, how this tree house was huge and it was neat. Him and his other older boy buddies built this thing, and how neat it was. So I had enough information from him to make it sound like I'd been there a dozen times. So I am bragging to her, Oh yeah, I've been out there so many times. Well, even at 6 years old, the guys can be talked into anything by the pretty little girls. She starts in on me. Take me out there. I want to see it. I said, we can't. I can't go beyond the invisible fence. And she goes, nobody will know. We can go out there. You can show me that treehouse. Oh, well, you don't want to disappoint the little girls. I had to be the man, so I manned up, said, okay, fine, we'll go out to the treehouse, but we're not staying long because I got to get back here, because if they catch me on the other side of the invisible fence, Sty won't be able to sit down for at least a month, especially if they find out I took you with me. So off we headed, down to that swamp, and I'm walking through that swamp. And it was tricky. I mean, it seemed to take forever to get out to that island. We got to the big tree with the treehouse, and I'm looking up and I'm going, whoa, that thing is big, and it's everything my brother said it was. And I'm still trying to act like, yeah, I've been here all kinds of times. And I told her, well, let's go up in it. And she goes, well, how do we get up in it? I looked around, I go, oh, right here, there's boards nailed to the tree. We can climb those. Well, now, mind you, this oak tree was about, at least 4 foot across at the base. It was a huge monster of a tree. The treehouse, in fact, we found out later that it was 8 by 8 feet. They used 2 4-by-8 foot sheets of plywood for the floor, and they just fit it. So it was 8 by 8 feet. That's a big treehouse for kids. Well, we managed to get up in that treehouse, and we just loved it. You could look out over that swamp. I could see our house on the hill, and I'm telling her all about last time I was here, just lying through my teeth, I thought maybe I was in love with her or something, so I had to impress her, All of a sudden I hear, way out on that island, I can hear my mother calling us. Oh, God. I told her, Denise, if we don't get back now, right now, Sty's a dead man. And we'll never get married and have kids, So I'm so nervous about the whooping I'm going to get that I'm just heading through that swamp as fast as I can, and I got her right on my tail. Well, that's enough about talking about us coming back across the swamp. I'm going to speed forward. I'm standing at the top of the hill in my yard with my mother towering over me, and behind her is my dad, Denise's dad, and her mother. And everybody's got their arms crossed. And my mother's doing the old vulture thing right over the top of me. She's looking me up and down, and she goes, "Where are your pants?" I made a fatal error. Fatal error. If you ain't got your pants on, you're all prepped for a heck of a spanking. What comes out of Sty's mouth? I said, "Ma, my pants are back in that swamp where my boots are." That didn't fly. That did not fly. That's when I learned little girls in dresses aren't going to get in that kind of trouble. And little Miss Smart Aleck, she holds up her shoes and she says, "See, Mom, I didn't ruin my shoes." Sure, she was mud up to her butt, but she had her skirts pulled up, didn't get her skirts in the swamp, and didn't lose her shoes. Well, my boots still had my pants attached to them out in the middle of that swamp because I was in such a hurry to get home. I thought I could get there, evade my mom, get in the house, put some other pants on, throw some tennies on or something, and then say, "Oh, we didn't hear you. We were playing in my room," or something. It didn't work. It did not work. So, I can remember an occasion probably 30 years later, when my ex-wife had said to me one time, as I walked through our bedroom, "Where's your pants?" I don't know what it was. I instinctively turned and ran like hell. I was heading out the house. I was heading out. I was getting out of there. Instinctively, I thought, I'm going to just get the worst whooping you ever seen. Fortunately, my head cleared before I got to the front door and ran out in the public. But yeah, so there you go. Sty, where's your pants? There you are. That's the first Sty Story Sunday for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. It's Sty Story. Some will be short like this one. Some will be long. This one was rather short. But this is the very first voyage down the Sty Story Sunday trail, and I thought, yeah, that's the one I'm going to share with you tonight. I did what I said I was going to do last night in my stream. I actually printed off the numbers that match my list of Sty stories that I have, 137 of them on this list, and then I've got several on another list. And I cut them numbers out, and I threw them into a Tupperware container, and I pulled one of those numbers out, and it landed on Where's Your Pants? So there you go, folks. Now I'm going to get to jump over here in the chat, take a look at what you guys have been talking about for a little while, and think about it, folks. What kind of experiences did you have when you were little ones and kind of got yourself in a fix, eh? Let's take a look at what you guys have been talking about here. I see you guys haven't talked a lot. You must have been listening. What a great classroom I have. Canoe Hound was watching my viewer count. Hey, he says, you got 20 viewers. Oops, 18 now. Well, that's 2 viewers that missed out, isn't it? Mike's right away says, you got me at swamp. I thought of you, Mike, when I pulled that number, and I go, oh, where's my pants? That's a swamp story. Mike's gonna like this one. Anything to do with the swamp he'll love. Well, and I've got a few. Swamp stories. There were 2 huge swamps on that lake as a kid that I visited and had adventures in, and I'm going to have a few swamp stories. Now, these are northern swamps. Thank goodness we didn't have any gators to deal with, especially as little kids. We did have some really nasty snapping turtles we had to deal with on a few occasions, though. Brandon's outdoor adventures came in the house while I was telling my story. Yes. Yeah, thanks, Gemma. She's so great, guys. Gemma is so great. She informs people what's going on and who's where and what's happening. I hope she doesn't take it wrong, but I call her sweet all the time. I didn't want to give the wrong impression in the last stream. I saw her in and said, hi, you know. I almost typed out sweetheart. I thought, oh boy, don't want to give all of our YouTube friends the wrong idea. Here's Sty's warming up to Gemma here. Cut it out, Sty, behave yourself. But I'm telling you, Gemma's one sweet gal. She's wonderful. And it's great that you're here, Brandon. It's great. Mr. Z, sounds like a nice place. It was cool. I've got another treehouse story that involves that particular treehouse. We'll get to that on another Sty Story Sunday. Can't give them all away on the first Sunday. I only have a couple hundred Sundays covered, so. Mike says, great story, Sty. Thank you, Mike. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, Mr. Z said, sounds like a nice place to grow up. It was. I loved my hometown. I just loved my hometown. I'm going to plug this in, and it's a stab for my, it's a plug for my hometown. I grew up in a town called Spring Park, Minnesota, surrounded by Lake Minnetonka. Lake Minnetonka's a huge lake. There's a lot of water in that lake. And my pop was chief of police of that town, of that community, since from 1953 to 1969. When he passed away in 69, a couple years later, they developed a small little city park, and they put a swing set in it and a couple picnic tables, and they called it, his last name was Wilkes, they called it Wilkes Park. And they put a little sign up that said Wilkes Park. That's all it said. And it stayed that way for almost 50 years. Well, now the last year, the Historical Society has been just hounding me. And I sent them a bunch of information on him. And now they're placing this summer a huge bronze plaque that gives his whole biography. It's got his whole bio on it and everything he ever did for the city of Spring Park. And Spring Park was a small little town. It was only about 1.5 miles wide. And it was about 7 miles long. And that was the whole town. Okay. Tevin says, you can't run, Grandpa. Oh, that boy better watch it. I'm going to have him someday sit in my studio and tell the Grandpa Can't Run story. You'll be amazed. You guys, there's been a lot of reveals about Sty, and Tevin can testify. Don't ever say, Grandpa, you can't catch me. He'll tell you. Don't ever tempt me. Oh, Andy, he's telling Gemma, watch the film The Predator. If she hasn't watched that, Gemma, you don't want to watch that. It's a horror kind of sci-fi movie. Andy says, got my last Advent candle when I was about 8 years old. Mother was out, Dad was out, so I decided to burn that day's worth down on my own, right under the living room net curtains. Haven't a clue how that happened. Andy, that is so good. Rolling Homestead says, we don't have enough time for that. Would be a long story. Oh, Andy says, parents got home in time to watch me running through the house with a blazing net curtain in my hands and a huge black mark on the ceiling. That's like a murder case. And there he was with the blood on his hands. Yeah, standing there holding that curtain saying, it wasn't me. That's too good. Thank you, Gemma. Thank you. Because you are sweet. You're a sweet gal. You really are. And you're the kind of person that earns a little pride. You make others proud of you, so you have the right to give yourself a pat on the back. You definitely do, girl. Okay. Andy said left the explanation on your video from the 7th April. Gemma. Oh, yeah. Now everybody's going to run over there and take a look at Gemma's video to see what Andy said. Do that after my stream, you guys. Andy. Okay. Plano Chuck says curtains and flames never work out well together, especially in Andy's case. Andy says discovered that one early on, Chuck. Early on, Chuck. Yeah. You know, some lessons are best learned when you're just a little guy, because you got all the rest of your life to not have to go through that garbage again. Don't do that again. I'll tell you what, ever since that day in the swamp with me and Denise, I never took a girl out in the swamp again. Now, hike with Mike may have, but I wouldn't. I wanted to come back home. I guess at a certain age, I didn't care if I came home with my pants or not, but my boots, I didn't want to give those up. So I learned something that day. Pretty little girl takes you off in the swamp, you might come home without any pants or boots. And then you're going to get a whooping. Probably by her papa or her brother. New agendas in the house. I so far behind. Great to see you again there, New Agenda. Old man, I'm jumping up a little bit. Sty, maybe I tell you about one firecracker in a septic tank vent someday. You better. I got some firecracker stories too. From the old days. From the old days when our small firecrackers take the end of your finger off. We had small firecrackers that make the big ones today look like sissy stuff. I've got some firecracker stories I won't tell because I don't want people running out of the Sty Shack going, oh my gosh, did you hear what he just said happened? Oh gosh. Yeah, I got some of those, but I'm not going to tell them. Maybe when I get 20 years from now, when I'm old and senile, I'll be sitting here on a Sunday night telling those stories I left out. Jenna says, I'm just me, living my life with autism. I'm here to make friends. Well, Gemma, I hope everybody here has an open heart and can be your friend. Well, you definitely know you got a friend in me there, Gemma. You definitely have a friend in me. And that'll be a lifetime friend. I guarantee you. Running Water, thank you. And I expected to hear that from Running Water. Gemma, if you're not aware, that's my oldest boy. This is my oldest son. And, yeah, the apple didn't fall far from the tree. Joe Cook says, good night, all. Some of my meds just whacked the hell out of me. Joe, I don't mean to make light of that, but I understand. I've been down that road. So, Joe, you have a very good night. I can always count on you. You always show up. You're great. Andy says, best way to be, Gemma. Live to make yourself happy. Absolutely. Absolutely. If others don't make me happy, oh, pee on them. I'm going to be happy myself then. Or I'll keep searching until I find someone I can be happy with. It is always better and funner if there's someone you could be happy with. That's frosting on the cake. I always say that. I don't mind if I have to bake my own cake. And if somebody comes along and wants to put some frosting on it, it's all the better for me and my homemade cake. And Gemma says, I'm very happy in my life. Autism just makes it magical. Wonderful. Wonderful. And that's Gemma. She comes up with some of the best one-liners you're ever going to hear about positivity, about being a positive person and not letting the world tear you down. I just love it. Okay. Andy says, did you say 20 years from now or before now? Is my memory that bad? Did I go senile 20 years ago? What would I do without Andy? Old man says, I will email it to you sometime. Oh, there it is. No. I don't know what email. I missed that part of the conversation. Oh, he's gonna, yeah, story. Yeah, for anybody that doesn't know, if you go to my YouTube homepage and hit the About tab, you can go down to the bottom and you click on there to get they call it the business contact or whatever, but that's the email. You click on that, it'll show my email. And you can pull my email off of there, and I check that email probably 2 times a day, as long as my channel stays small enough. And I got a feeling I'm going to be checking that bugger all the time down the road. My Facebook is just going insane with followers, people that want me to friend them. And I look at their friends, and they're all, it's all people, all related, generally in the same network. I mean, it's not people I've never seen before. These are people that I've seen in chats all over YouTube that I've been involved in, and I've seen on my channel. Well, doggone it, they found me on Facebook. They sure did. I might have to start another personal page. Just leave that one where it is. But, and move all my family over to that one, because I have to really go down through some of the posts to find my family. Andy says, good for you, Gemma. Too many of us get way too old before we achieve happiness in our lives. Exactly, Andy. That's so true. Old man says, I can't find your email address on your homepage. It's on the About. You go to the homepage and you go over to the About, and you click on the About, and then at the bottom of that page will be the email. Let me know if you find it. Oh, heck. I'll make it easy for anybody, because it's public on that page. I'll put it on here. I gotta take my glasses off because I got the wrong ones for using the keyboard. Why is it a person can't talk while they type? Oh, I know what it is. Age. Oh, yeah. I'm glad I put my glasses back on for that, because I was talking, so I mistyped that. There we go. There. If anybody wants to reach me, that's my email address. Gemma says to Andy, I've learned the last few years to be happy. I just learned to fit into society. That's it. We're all round, square, triangular, rectangle, oval pegs. And society's just a big open board. And we just got to find out where our peg fits. And we put ourselves in that spot. And there we are, just happily secure in our part of society. Good for you, Gemma. Like I said, guys, she's got very, very inspirational comments to make to help lift you up. Okay. Cheese had said, I'll be happy when Sty gives me my first paycheck. I still think he's got that. He's got that comment sitting in a Word document, and he just copies it, cut and paste, and he makes sure that he gets it in 3-4 times in every one of my streams. Oh, jeez, you're so good. Hello, Kendra. Great to see you. Thanks for stopping in. And he says, same here, Gemma, with the exception that, on the whole, I don't do society. Not in this backward little seaside village I live in. Most of the yokels know what I have done before I do. I know what that's like, Andy. Small town life can be tough sometimes. Everybody's business, which is none of anybody's business, all of a sudden becomes everybody's. And I've been in some small towns that, I tell you what, I won't even drive through them anymore. I'll go around them. And what Andy said is so true. In some of those small towns I've lived in, I had people that didn't know who I was, and they'd say, did you hear about this guy? He this and he this and this and this and this, and I'm sitting there going, oh, really? And they're talking about me. They're actually they're using my name. They don't know me, but boy, they know everything about me. And they're just filling me all in on what I am, who I am, what I've done, what I'm going to do. And that taught me right there, yeah. It's terrible. My family garden, I don't know how I missed you. I'm getting terrible. Well, after that 8-hour stream last night, yeah, please excuse me. I am very fine, my family garden. I hope you're the same. I hope you're doing well. Okay. Gemma said, don't conform to society either. I just find a way of fitting in appropriately. Exactly. And that's what I was trying to convey is we find our spot, and it's a comfortable spot. And it's safe. We find this nice, safe, comfortable spot in society. We know that society at large, I'm a firm believer, society at large is actually a predator looking to attack your happiness. Society is totally built on negativity and tearing things up, and that includes people in their lives. But there's folks like all of you out there in society, and that's what I'm doing here, is I'm finding my spot that I feel comfortable and safe with people that I feel comfortable and safe with. She's nailing that nail right on the head. Andy says, hey, Cheese, would that be the one Sty sent to me by mistake, $1.19, and labeled moderator fees paid in full? That was $1.19? Oh, man. She said I overpaid you. And Andy got the check. Gary Irwin, I'm two parallel lines. That's cool. Kevin says, I have you streaming on our TV, and Josiah is convinced you can see him. I hope he's still watching. Hey, Josiah, Great Grandpa Sty watching you, keeping an eye on you. You be good. You be good for your mom and dad. That's my great grandson, Josiah. Josie. Yeah, he's quite the little bag. He's a little handful. His papa and mama, they got their work cut out for him. And he says, I just find people I click with and make do with that, Gemma. Ever since I was a kid, I never fitted into society's little boxes. Be they their behavior, dress, sense, or chosen hobbies or interests. Yeah, exactly. Gemma says to Andy, don't conform to boxes either. I'm in control of what I do. That's it. Don't let others control you. You control you. You make the decisions. I've always said that. I've had people say to me, I can't believe you're fessing up to what you just did, because I did something wrong. And I said, well, it was my actions. It was my decision. So yeah, I'll own it. Just like if I had 4 dogs and one of them was mean and nasty and it bit somebody, and then they came to me and said, one of your 4 dogs bit me. The problem is they all look the same. I'd say it had to be that one, because that's the mean and nasty one. And I'll take responsibility because I decided to own that. And I think that's the way we should be in our personal lives. Own everything. And if you want to be a good person, that's your choice. And you can own that. You can say, hey, I don't care what you think or what you say. I'm going to be a good person, and I'm going to own that. That's mine. So, there's the door. And he says, I'm kind of in control of it, Gemma. I have some way out their means and methods for making my life better existence to be living in. Yeah. Gemma's Journey says, Andy, I have strategies too. Don't get me wrong, I have to put them into daily practices. Everybody does. Anybody that says, I don't have to practice that, I don't have to remind myself of where I am and where I stand and who I am. I don't need to remind myself of that. Ooh. Folks like that, eventually they have a rude awakening. And I feel for folks that end up down that road. And Mr. Z says, oh, wait a minute. Yeah. Andy said amen to that, Sty. Mr. Z says, and you live in a little seaside village like Doc Martin. That must be a pretty place. Andy says, mine are more on a bi-monthly basis, Gemma. Society says it's wrong, but it got rid of all my brain health meds that I have been eating for well over 20 years. I that's why I say my streams, my channel attracts the best people. These are all success stories. These are personal success stories that you're hearing from these folks. I mean, it's people taking control of their lives. It's just, yeah. Bravo. Tevin says he's, what? Cheesing really big. Gemma says, Andy K, wow, you're so strong to do what you're doing. I'm proud of you. And we're proud of you too, Gemma. You're both strong people. That's why I just glow when I see either one of you popping into my streams. Gary Irwin says, I always try to think outside the box. The only problem has been I'm sometimes in more than one box. Isn't that true? Isn't that what? It's like that mystery present that you give somebody where you put a tiny box in another box, in another box, in another box, in another box. And if you were in that first tiny box, you're thinking, all these boxes I got to deal with. I got to get beyond. If I get outside this box, I've got another box to deal with. And then I get out of that, I got another box to deal with. And life can be that way. You can feel like you're definitely in one of those boxes. Gemma's Journey says, Andy K, everybody has things that scare them too. Sometimes I get scared too. Yep. Running Water says, inside or outside the box, I haven't even found the box yet. Yeah, Running Water, you never did find the box, did you? We never did teach him to quit pooping on the floor. We showed him where his litter box was, but he never did find it. Andy says, man, two old house and a dock and a dog taking a dump on the mayor's garden, and you've seen it, mate. You do get a few shots on the place from my kayak, which I think I still have up there. Wow. Mr. Z says, dump on the mayor's garden. Yeah, that cracks me up. That is so good. Andy says, my methods ain't exactly legal, but they work. They don't harm me or anyone else. And unlike those meds, no health warning about causing suicidal feelings either. Bravo. I think all of you know that Sty's a believer of holistic medicine. All medicines, all meaningful medicines originate from natural sources. Man-made chemical pharmaceuticals, on the other hand, are made to mimic things that natural, mind you, actual natural sources would provide. Man thinks he's smarter than Mother Nature and has to manufacture something that intensifies the outcome. And most of the time they screw it up. That's why I hate man-made chemical prescriptions versus holistic approach on things. I do take a couple of things that are synthetics. I mean, they're made by man, they're not natural. And they're made to mimic some natural things. And I'm slowly getting myself prepared to even back off of some of those. So I want to get to the point where I'm not taking man-made meds, and I'm using nature for my longevity. I just want to make sure that, I don't want to. The thing is don't do the right thing to the point that you end up with the wrong result. If you get my meaning. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say there. Gemma said, oh, yeah, she said you're right. For Running Water, it's more like a wet paper bag. Gemma says, you're amazing, Sty North. Very, very happy I'm your friend. I don't know that I'm amazing, Gemma. I care. I definitely, from my heart, care for every one of the people that follow me. I care for all of you. I really do. Am I amazing? I don't. I've never considered myself amazing, but you warmed my heart with that comment. Thank you. Mr. Z says, our mayor just got out after 16 years, and he said it's a better place to live. Yeah, right, it's about as dangerous as it gets. What did he do? Make it better and then get the heck out? I've seen that in some beautiful small towns. They get these outsiders come in, or these power hungry, multi generational locals that all of a sudden have a new age thought process and approach, and they get in and they're in control, and they totally change the community's metal, what the community is made of, and the community starts to fall apart. It's nowheres. You can't even recognize it for its original community, and those people bail, and they say, "But I made the place a better place. I made it a better place." And what burns my butt is if they're old enough to know better, to know what it used to be, and they're claiming they made it better. Oh, you want to burn Sty's butt? That's my hometown. Where I was talking, my pop's got a part in his memory. They're putting that beautiful bronze plaque there. I talked to a fella that he used to be the mayor of that community when I was a teenager. And we had a wonderful conversation, and I felt bad. The man's 81 years old. He was in tears. He said, "I was the mayor of a community that no longer exists." He said, "There are tiny little pieces of evidence that it was there at one time," but he said the community does not exist anymore. And I asked him why, and he said exactly what we were talking about. Other people came in and said, "We're going to make it better. If it ain't broke, don't frickin' fix it." I'm sorry, I got off on a tangent. I can get a little caught up in that issue. Margie, I missed you coming in. Sneaky, sneaky, sneaky. Everybody say hi to Margie if you haven't yet. I'm going to take a quick spin down, make sure I'm not missing anybody. Eileen popped in. Hey. Everybody say hi to Eileen too. Yeah. I'm trying not to miss anybody. Heck, we've still got another hour before this stream's going to be done tonight, folks. Yeah, I told the story, but like I said, the story is the front part for people that just want to catch the story. They can catch the first 20 minutes of the stream, half hour at the most, and they'll get the story. And they'll go, "Great, I got the Sty Story for this week." They don't have the time or even the interest to hang out in our chat. That's fine with me. They want to hear the story? Yeah. So I put it up front. Let them hear the story. And then we're going to enjoy ourselves for the rest of the stream. And anybody that doesn't stay on board or tag along, if they can, they miss out. But they can rewatch it. They can rewatch it later. Okay, I got to get back in here because you folks, I just love hearing what you're saying. Okay. And Gemma, again, saying that she's very, very happy that she's my friend. I am very, very happy she's mine. I am. Mr. Z says, our mayor just got... Okay, that was the 16 years. Okay, I got that. The best medicines come from ancient peoples who overcome many of our modern issues long before we even had scientists. Yes, Andy, absolutely. And much of that... Much of that has been handed down generation after generation, not through written form and not through science, through practice. And how did they find those remedies? How did they ever master them? Can you imagine what, for folks that know what chaga is, it's the ugliest dang thing you ever seen. Who was the person that knocked the first chunk of chaga off a tree and said, "Oh, if I make tea out of that, it's going to build my immune system, and it's going to get rid of my inflammatory joints and it's going to help my diabetes. No. But somebody said, oh man, I'm sick and tired of making tea out of this bark off of this rotten old bush. It just tastes terrible. And said, I wonder if that big black chunk of stuff on that birch tree would taste any good in the tea. And they brewed it up and they tasted it and they go, well, that's pretty good. That's drinkable. I like that. And then they started drinking their new tea that they found and they're going, gosh, I feel a lot better. I got a lot more energy. I don't have all that swelling in my joints. I don't crave sugar all the time. The only thing I ever changed was my tea. It must have been that chaga stuff on that tree. That's how they found out, was through practice. And scientists know they find it out through a lab. And where does the practice come from? Animals. I'm sorry, I'm not a cat or a dog. I'm not a rat. Yeah. Here you go. You guys send me down these trails. Donnie Running Water says to Cheesehead, I look at life like a convenience store. I'm only to deal with what I need right now. I'm only going to carry what I can handle and not afraid to put down things that aren't necessary. That's a good analogy. I like that, Running Water. Andy says, if I got caught, Z, I would likely be offered 25 years free, bed and breakfast for curing myself of stuff the doctors couldn't even improve. Yeah. Okay. Andy says, Mr. Z, I ain't. Okay. She said Sty is not amazing. He's not bacon, but he might be close, though. She says, comparing me to food. Only she said. Andy says, I ain't a Brit, but I'm English. I speak reasonable English and even better Farquid. Oh, you guys. Man, I'm so far behind. I'm trying to catch up. Mr. Z's, oops, I don't know or understand the difference. I thought English and British is the same. Andy says British include the Welsh. Ba ba. I should ba ba. The Jockanese and the Northern Irish. Oh, Andy, you're giving him a linguistic lesson here. That's awesome. Yeah, that's so great to see Margie coming in. That's Mr. Z says, Andy, I will have to study the difference. Andy, well, the English guys like girls. The Scots love their haggis. And the Welsh seem to be really fond of their sheep. Well, that means that the Welsh really don't like the Scots. That's just a haggis issue. I suppose the Scots are telling the Welsh, you wouldn't have liked her anyway. She's real haggish. Mr. Z says the worst thing is the cholesterol pills. They're starting to push it down on children. Oh yeah. I've seen a couple cases where there's very young kids. They're putting on cholesterol pills, trying to control their cholesterol as a child. Now, if there's an actual physical deficiency in their system, that creates excessive cholesterol, and they have a method to control that, I could understand that. But what is that? Now we're talking 1 in millions of people. So I know where I know where you're coming from there. Mr. Z, that's just, yeah. Some of the stuff they peddle on us is just, it's just too damn much. It's too much. It amazes me, but okay. Now this goes back, way back. My granddad, and I was just a young feller when he told me this. We had a dog that was ill, and my granddad said, well, bring her over here, I'll look at her. I can't remember what it was that he fed her, and I can remember hearing someone say, well, that dog's got such and such a disease. So I told my grandpa, and they said the dog will die from that. That's just the way it was. And I told my grandpa, I said, you're not going to help her because she's got a disease. And he explained to me, you don't understand what disease is, boy. And I said, well, it makes you sick, and a lot of times it doesn't go away. And he goes, well, that's kind of accurate, but still don't understand what disease is. And I said, well, what is it? And he goes, and now I was just old enough where I was starting to read, so I understood the structure of words. And he goes, think of it. Where did they come up with the word disease? He said what they did is they would look at someone and they'd say, oh, look at how they're feeling. They are at a point of dis-ease. They're not at ease physically with themselves anymore. So what you have to do is bring them back to ease so they aren't suffering from dis-ease. And I found out later what he was doing was he was actually feeding that dog snuff, Copenhagen. And that dog was eating it. Couldn't believe that later when I found out that's what he was feeding it. But that dog ate it. And within about 4 days, that dog, the difference was just like night and day. That dog was all happy and running and healthy, and no kidding, when he was feeding that snuff to that dog could barely walk. It was so ill. And what it was is that dog was full, I can't remember what type of worm it had, but it was so full of worms. And him feeding it that snuff actually cleaned the worms out of its intestinal tract. And the dog healed up in a matter of days. And he says, see that dog? It's not suffering from dis-ease anymore. He says the dog's perfectly at ease with itself. So yeah, I think there's a lot of this that affects our health. I've experienced it. In my old career, running water could probably attest to that. There were times I got very ill, and it was all stress related, and it reared its ugly head through my health, through my physical health. My mental health was killing me physically. Yeah. All right, okay. Andy says the English prisoners went on to create Australia. Yes, they did. The Welsh populated New Zealand, and the Irish couldn't swim, so never really made it past the U.S. Yeah. But them Scots they never lost their pants in the swamp. Because if they had, it would have killed them. Okay, Margie says, thank you. I'm old school and I appreciate someone with the values I still live by. That's great, Margie. Andy says, my values are really basic. Try to live a free life, have a laugh, and look after those I know would do the same for me. And that's the point, is the more we look after others that we know would do the same for us, the more they're willing to do it for another and another and another. And I believe that's what used to build those great, small, strong communities, because it was like everybody was on the same boat. Everybody was on the same boat. And he says, free as in freedom. Yes, sirree. Margie said amen to that. Yeah. And he said, thanks, Margie. Just didn't want my warped sense of humor offending anyone. Hey, we're all getting to know you pretty good, Andy. I think if you wanted to insult somebody, that would be turdy. That would be awfully obvious. Okay, Margie responded, we all need laughter, best medicine. That's what I was talking about. Yes, being happy in ourselves and laughing with people, and not being afraid to be laughed at. I mean, I can remember in my younger years, there were times people would laugh at me when I'd do something stupid, and it would anger me. And then I realized, why get angry about it? Because if I was on their end watching what I just did, I'd be guilty of what I'm accusing them of, because I'd be laughing my tail off. So I live by, if you can't laugh with me, go ahead, laugh at me, I don't care. Because I'm going to do it to you. I'm going to either laugh with you, and if you don't want me laughing with you, too bad, because then I'm going to laugh at you. Because life is full of mistakes, and if you don't laugh them off, and you take them all in, before you know it, you start turning bitter because of all that poison you just keep taking in and saying everything's bad, everything's bad. Don't laugh at that, that's bad. No, laugh about it, get it off your shoulders, I'll get it off your chest, don't carry it, and just say, well, isn't that life? Doggone it. It was terrible when it happened. It's over, it's gone, it's done. Now we can look back and go, oh boy, was that something, and laugh. Because it feels good, it gets that out of us. Yeah, Margie said stress is a silent killer. It sure is, Margie. It absolutely sure is. And Mr. Z, yeah, guilts are more freeing. Yeah. I believe so. I knew a Scottish fella, and he had a habit of wearing kilts quite often, most of the time, in fact. And he says, I told him, I said I could never wear one of them. He says, well, he says, in them pants you're wearing, I was wearing shorts at the time. He goes, in them pants you're wearing, he says, you jump over that 5-wire barbed wire fence over there, and he says, you'll find out that fence that fence is what everybody will say is what killed you. I couldn't figure out what the hell he was talking about. Then he explained, you're going to rip the center right out of them shorts you're wearing, and you're going to have your first kilt. He says, if you didn't have them trousers, he says, you wouldn't have to worry about that jumping over the fence. And I thought, well, wait a minute. To me, the trousers are a little more protective. Andy says, you are probably right there, Sty. I saw a doctor about a month ago who was so useless. I asked him what those letters after his name spelled. He was not impressed with the 4-letter word I came up with. That's bad. Oh, that's so good it's bad. Mr. Z says, I feel more free using the outdoor facilities in the woods. Well, yeah, because that's natural. It's natural. We are actually, our indoor facilities are not designed for the posture we should be using when we're using the facilities. They are not. I know people say, oh, well, I couldn't do it natural way. Well, the thing is if you could, and you can adapt your bathroom to that. You actually clean yourself out better. You feel better. It's the whole posture thing. Your body was designed to do it a certain way, and somebody came up with a better idea. They could have come up with the flushing system without eliminating the squatting situation, I guess. Okay. Andy says that poison ivy is bad news when you got piles, though. Oh yeah, you're gonna have a pile of problems. Andy says if you have Scots blood in your veins, Donnie, you could have the company in court for racial prejudice. Mr. Z says, I am in poison ivy, and it never bothered me yet. Don't know if I can be immune to it. Not sure. Actually, yes. Oddly enough, I read up a lot on poison ivy, and it's not a lot of people. It's very, very small amount of people. And they say, generally, it's like that's the standard that makes a person immune, is you must have come in contact with the same toxin produced by poison ivy at one point or another, but in such a small form, and your body and your immune system was geared just right for it, took it and built antibodies that fought it instantly without any problem. And then when you came in contact with it again, your body recognized it and said, hey, that's easy, we'll attack that. We already know what that is, we'll go attack that. And they say that will have happened 2 or 3 times and you won't even be aware of it. And your body then develops an actual immunity to it. And you would have to almost lather yourself with the oils of that plant for it to have an adverse effect on you. It was real interesting reading that study. And there's people that have gone out and tried to make themselves immune following that process and really messed it up. And that's why they say there's very few people, but it isn't that uncommon for a person to be immune to poison ivy. Now, I got poison ivy when I was a kid all the dang time for several years. I haven't had poison ivy now in, it's been over 35 years. I haven't had poison ivy, and I'm in it all the time out in the woods. There's so many times I've been picking wild strawberries and go, oh, what the heck am I doing? And I've got a poison ivy plant, and I got a handful of it. I got pushing it out of the way to get to my strawberries. And I'm thinking, there we go. I'm going to have poison ivy between all the fingers on that hand, and then it's going to spread up my arm and blah, blah, blah. And no, all of a sudden I realize it's been 2 days and not a sign of rash. So, yeah, there's something to that. Bradley. What's up? Yeah, what isn't up? Bradley says it's raining in Pennsylvania. It's raining here in Wisconsin too, in northern Wisconsin. I just looked at the weather report a little earlier. They're forecasting rain for the next 9 days. Here Sty is, retired, and if it wasn't raining, man, I'd be out on the trails this week. It looks like this week I'm going to do some trail scouting. Mainly what I'm going to do is road scouting to see if I can get into some of the areas I want to go to. And the following week, then I'll probably be doing some serious hiking. If Cheesehead's still in the house, Cheese, I got to get a hold of you. This week, this coming week, starting tomorrow, this week, boy, it looks like it's going to be real tough for me to get together with you. If it's possible, I'd like to make arrangements for the following week, the week of the 15th, that week. One day for you and I to get together and do something. And I ain't going to put it off again. We got to get together. Okay. What was that? Donnie says, yes, Mr. Z, poison ivy doesn't affect everyone equally. Some have no effect at all, and some can have deadly effects. Oh, yeah, I've seen people actually have the poison ivy oil get into their mouth. And the thing is, your body will not react to it anywhere that oil has not come in contact with. So people say, oh, well, but once you get it, it'll spread. No, you spread it. It's the oils that your body react to. Wherever that rash is, there had to be that oil in contact with that spot, because it does not spread on its own like measles. It doesn't do that. Look it up. It does not do that. Your skin or part of your body has to come in direct contact with that oil, or it's not going to react to it in that spot. But I've seen people that have gotten that oil on their lips, and then they swallowed it, and their esophagus inflames, and it can kill them. Yeah. So a person's got to be careful. Andy, squat and drop. Mr. Z says, wear one when you work on your dad's truck so he can video it. If I wore one, I might start fighting again. I don't want to see running water in a kilt. No. I used to change his damn diapers. Why would I want to see him in a kilt? Bradley says, Andy, how is it going tonight? It's raining here. Yeah, we talked about that. Pennsylvania. Raining. And playing a truck. We used to cook inside and go outside to relieve ourselves. Now we go outside to cook and go inside to go. You're absolutely right, Chuck. All right, come on, folks. Everybody should have realized that. How we've reversed things. My granddad used to always say, I've always hated it ever since they turned it into an in-house. I can remember asking him one time, what do you mean? And he said, the outhouse. It's no longer an outhouse. It's an in-house. He says, who? And he says, why is it? Now, you folks might be able to help answer this. He goes, why is it that almost everybody's house has a crapper next to the kitchen? He says, your mouth isn't next to your crapper. So why are you putting your crapper next to your food? He says, what do you think? We had an outhouse, and it was way the heck out, away from the house. I've thought about that ever since I heard that as a kid. And his complaint about the in-house. And yeah, doggone it. So many homes I've been into, so many of them. They got a crabber right off the kitchen. That's a good point, Grandpa. Okay, Gary Irwin says, he says, I used to be immune to poison ivy until in my mid-40s. Then that changed. Yep, they mentioned that too. That people can be poison ivy tolerant all their lives, and then they get into a patch, and boom, they've got it. All of a sudden, it affects their immune system. Their immune system can't deal with it. And they said usually that's an indicator that there was something off at that moment with your immune system, and it couldn't fight it like it had all those other years. And the problem is once your body has experienced a full-blown outbreak of poison ivy, it's like it never goes away after that. I mean, you'll always break out if you come in direct contact with the plant and its oils. Yeah. Okay. Running Water says time to trade in your snowshoes for waders. I never got to use my dang snowshoes this year. I'm peed off. Brand spanking new pair. Brand new pair. Doggone it, what they cost me, that's almost half of the price of my kayak. But then, I could have used my kayak to go sledding in the winter. I can't use my snowshoes to go fishing. Unless it's ice fishing. Margie says, yes, it's snowing in the part of the upstate New York I moved from. I don't miss the snow, but miss my country life. I bet you do, Margie. I bet you do. Yeah, the older I get, the less I like winter. I still want to go out and do some winter activities. That's why I bought new snowshoes. But I want to be able to get near a good heat source after I've gone out there and exposed myself now. I'm not so thrilled about the snow so much anymore. Andy says nothing like not having somewhere anymore to make you appreciate it more than you ever did. Yes. Yes. Oh, there's a lot of things in my life, not having it really makes me appreciate what I've got. Yeah. Yeah, Margie, I've heard a little bit of your story before. I don't remember where it was, but yeah, Margie had a big change in her life. Running Water says, I wouldn't look good in a kilt. Haven't even worn shorts for over a decade. The paleness would be blinding. I'm sorry, Running Water, I just... I'm hoping I can hang out on a Lake Superior beach enough this summer that, yeah, I can let my legs be seen by a human. Because at least the first 30 days, my legs will scare off even the wildlife. I don't go without a shirt anymore. That scared the hell out of God and Jesus at the same time. They'd say, whoa, he ain't getting in here. Look at that guy. Boy, did he go all to crap. Yeah. I'm not buff anymore. I'm just, what the heck? Margie says yes, because plumbing was easier from kitchen to the bathroom. Yeah, out of convenience. Yeah, it was true. My other granddad, who was a farmer almost all of his life, he said the reason for the bathroom next to the kitchen was because indoor bathrooms were becoming very common just before the Depression, is where they became, where it was plumbed, all running water and everything. And he said during the Depression, if you put a bathroom in, it needed to be right next to your kitchen. You could not afford enough plumbing to plumb that whole dang house. And he said also, the majority of homes during the Depression era, their heat source was typically, the best heat source in the house was typically in the kitchen. So if you had any plumbing, you wanted it near that heat source, because so many homes at that time were still using cook stoves or oil-fired stoves and ovens. So he said the plumbing all had to be near a heat source. Made sense. Yeah, Margie said she lost her best friend and her husband of 42 beautiful years. That's what I recall from hearing. And I'm sorry, Margie, at the time I didn't give my condolences, but you have them today. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough, Margie. And that's, folks, added up, that's only a couple years ago. Those wounds take a lifetime to heal, so Margie, all we can do is say, hey, we care, and in our hearts we're hugging you. Okay, Andy says, every spring, summer, and fall. Cold hurts these days, though, so no winter fishing for me. That's where I'm at, too. I used to love to ice fish. I don't anymore. I don't ice fish at all anymore. Mr. Z says maybe we have to have a Woods Kit survival weekend. Or Woods Kilt survival weekend. Yeah, who survived the weekend in that kilt? And who's going to be the official tick checker and catch me wearing no kilt in my woods out here? Not with the ticks we have. No, I ain't wearing no. I wear long pants all summer long, hiking in the woods. People go, oh my God, he's got to be cooking. Yeah, but you don't see me dancing around all the time going, oh my gosh, I got 3 ticks attached, man. My legs are covered with them. I got them in the crack of my hiney. I don't have that problem. He's wearing long pants, and I usually have them banded at the ankle. I don't have no tick problems. But if I had a kilt, yeah, up here, I can see ending up with 30, 40 ticks where they don't belong. Old man says poison sumac is another one. If you catch southern poison sumac, it then makes you allergic to northern sumac. That's right. I read that too. And as kids, we were always warned to stay clear of the poison sumac. And we were shown, my granddad showed us how to identify the poison sumac from the common sumac. We used to make, it was like a sun tea out of sumac. We take the ripe clusters off of the sumac and we'd make a sun tea out of it. I'm going to do that this summer. At least once. One of my camping areas that I'm going to be hanging out in has a lot of common sumac, so I'm going to make some sumac sun tea while I'm camping out there. And Donnie says, Sty puts on shorts and folks across the bay will think there's a new lighthouse. Look who's talking. Look who's calling the kettle black, fry pan. Margie says, Margie says, I found you through Cab 7. You may have heard from me there. Yes, I'm believing that's where it was. I didn't want to commit to saying that I heard your story at Cab's stream because I wasn't sure that, but it makes perfect sense, Margie, that's where it would have been. It makes perfect sense. A lot of people are willing to open up over there, aren't they? Yeah. Which is good, when we have those hard times in our life, it's hard to open up to that. It's hard. So you want to be in a group of people that you trust and know they're not going to make your hardship on that situation worse. If anything, they'll soften it. And yeah, that's what gravitates people to his streams, is that sharing amongst each other that they feel safe to do. I told Cab I was going to share with them folks over there the story of my father's passing, and I'll just put you folks onto it, and someday I will be doing a Sty Story on it. But I've already made 6 attempts at doing a video on it, and I've actually deleted hours, I'm talking hours of video time, because I couldn't even watch it. But I'll tell you what the situation was, but there's a whole story that goes with it. On February 2nd, 1969, we were in church, our whole family. My father was at home. He didn't go to church with us on Sundays. And all of a sudden, towards the end of the service, we all looked at each other. It was about 11:30 in the morning. Our whole family, all of a sudden, we're all looking at each other. And it was amazing because we all had the same feeling. Something is wrong at home. And my mother said, we need to go. And we did. We got right up in the middle of the church service and out of there. Headed straight home. Well, I was 11 years old, going to be 12 years old, exactly a week and 2 days later. So I'm the youngest in the family. The car stopped, boom, I'm out of the car and I'm running in the house. I just had this feeling that something was terribly wrong. And the whole family felt the same way. They all came running right behind me. And we ran in the house, and I ran into my mother and father's bedroom, because that's where I felt I needed to be. I ran in there, and I wasn't in there maybe 30 seconds, and I felt a hand grab my shirt from behind and yanked me out of that doorway, and I landed on my tail in the living room, right smack in the middle of the living room. Their bedroom was right off the living room. And I got up and I walked outdoors and I just stood out there. Yep. Long story short, my pop had taken his own life. Okay, we're getting on a lighter subject. Mr. Z says, my brother in Florida loves to catch flounder. Went flounder gigging at night with spears and lights. It was fun. I love flounder, by the way. I think it's an awesome eating fish. As a kid, I would catch 20 flounder a day, and I would think it is normal. These days, I don't even see one most years. Isn't that a shame, Andy? Isn't that a shame? Yeah, I can remember as a kid, too, some hot spots you go into here, and we'd catch panfish. All the panfish you'd ever want to eat. And the thing is that for years, it was that way. And now it's not. It's not. You'd be lucky if You go into those really hot spots it used to be, and the conditions, you look at the conditions, they seem identical. But yet you can't limit out. You're not going to catch all the fish that you did then. And they don't size out. They're small. They're stunted. That's why I look for these remote, hidden lakes that people don't go into. Because some of those I can still get into that kind of fishing. Mr. Z says, I was thinking of spraying. Yeah, Promethium. It lasts for weeks. Too much Lyme disease. Buddy got it 3 times so far. Promethium is awesome. Some people say you don't want that near you. Other people say, well, no, it's not going to kill you. It's actually not as bad for you as DEET. And what I like about Promethium is you don't put it on your skin. You don't put it on your person. You put it on your clothes. And it'll stay on your clothes for up to 3 months. And up to 6 heavy washings. It won't come out of the fabric. Everybody says, well, it's kind of expensive. Oh, no, it isn't. Not when a treatment lasts for 3 months. Holy Lord. Yeah, so I got a bottle. I'm not going to get up and run and try to find it. But it come in an orange bottle, and it's a spray bottle. And I can do pants, a t-shirt, an outer shirt, and a jacket 6 times out of that bottle. I can do it 6 times out of that one bottle. And that bottle cost me just a hair under $30. So, yeah. I mean, five, yeah. Less than $5, a little hair over $4 per treatment for 3 months. Well, that bottle will last me 2 years. This new bottle, I've got one that's got like 1 treatment's worth left in it. And it works great. It does work great. It doesn't just keep the ticks off of you. I found it expels mosquitoes too. They don't want nothing to do with it either. But now your hands sticking out the sleeves, or you got your sleeves rolled up, you'll get the occasional one that's brave and will try to bite you. They won't get anywhere near that fabric with it on there though. And if you're moving around at all, they won't land on you. They don't want that stuff. Mr. Z says we have to hit Sty's favorite fishing spots. Well, I'll tell you what. At this stage of the game, the group that follows me on my channel that I have now, it wouldn't happen when I'm up there with 3,000-4,000 subscribers and I got 150 people in my chat. But this group, you folks, if I could get you all on a bus and haul your butts to my drop-off point, I'd take you into a lake and we'd spend a couple of days just having a hi-ho time, just us. I would share my spot with this group of folks. Otherwise, I don't mind sharing it on video, but I never show where you're going to get into it. Margie said, Cap 7 came to visit me with Boomer Rock. I'm a private person. I have never shared my story. Oh. Those guys are great. So is Margie. I mean, Margie's just great. Margie says, unfortunately, white-tailed deer they have found sick with the same symptoms of Lyme, and the fish are so full of mercury. This is upstate New York. Yeah. See, we had chronic wasting disease to deal with here in Wisconsin. It seems like it's slowly getting eradicated, so That's good to hear. And the thing is when deer hunters are handling deer, they've got to stay aware of the fact that they're at risk of getting Lyme's disease from a tick bite off of those deer, because those deer are loaded with ticks. They're loaded with ticks. Mr. Z says deer is bad. Had some kids spray 50% DEET and it was melting the plastic table. I don't want to wear that now. What the hell? No. Oh my gosh. DEET, not deer. Yeah. After I read it, I figured it out. We sprayed a deer on the table, melted the tablecloth right off of it. Boy, that's a tough deer. And he says, you'd be pretty safe in knowing I wouldn't be fishing it too often, Sty. Yeah, I don't think we're going to find Andy there every weekend. What's he doing in that spot again? Gosh, that guy, he's here every weekend. We know that Andy has a secret cash stash if he was showing up every single weekend. That was very serious cash stash. Marty says my biggest fish was a 4.5 pound big mouth bass. He gave me a run. LOL. I bet you that. Yeah, isn't it fun, Margie? Isn't it fun? My ex-wife caught about a 4+ pound smallmouth bass in a northern Minnesota lake when we used to go up. I'd rent a houseboat and we'd go out on the houseboat for a week and we'd find these little private coves and park our houseboat. And she caught a big smallie off the side of the houseboat one night in the evening, and I tried to get pictures of her smiling, holding that fish up, and she had this serious, oh my God, look on her face. See this thing, what I caught? Yeah, that's a blast. And he says, don't have freshwater bass over here, Margie. One of the reasons I always fish in the sea. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it all depends on the waters. And he says, sure. Yeah, sure, Margie. Go on to Google Maps and look up Harwich, Essex, UK. I'll tell you what, sea fishing is an art of itself. I've fished the part of the Atlantic, recreational fishing. Not a lot. I was just out there a couple times. But I fished the Gulf of Mexico several times, and I loved it. I loved saltwater fishing. But for me, because I was raised with it, I still love the freshwater fishing. Just love it. Just love it. I used to be really big into the muskie fishing. I had an awesome boat. It was actually it was built by Crestliner, but the model was a 440 Muskie Hunter. And it was a tri-hull boat, 14 feet long, and it was only about 6 feet wide. And I had a 50 horse Merc on it. Boy, did that puppy fly. Whew. But the way it rode in the water, I could get into the best shells on all of our lakes up here. And there was a lot of guys with $40,000 boats, $50,000 boats, madder than hell at me because they'd go, he just went past us, he's going into that cove, you can't get in there with a boat. I'd zip right in there. Well, I loved muskie hunting for several years, and I had some favorite lakes. The world record muskie was taken out of the Chippewa flowage down by Cheesehead. Not far from Cheesehead at all. and the international, whatever it's called, fish place is in Hayward, Wisconsin. They got this big giant concrete muskie that you can go up inside and stand in its mouth. Yeah. Yeah. Heritage. We don't spell too well over here, Sty. Yeah, you guys spell about the same as I type on a keyboard. So, yeah, this fella I used to do business with, he was out of London. He's, I think he said he was born and raised in North London, but I don't know. All I know is for two guys that are speaking English, and you put a few thousand miles between the two of them, he was speaking French to me. And half the time, he was telling me that I had the nastiest mouth. That it was always saying bad things. The things I said just were not right, just were bad. And most of the time, he wouldn't even explain it to me. What did I say? I didn't say nothing bad. Oh, but he'd be just insulted. Well, okay. It's all in the way you say it, I guess. Yeah, you guys are absolutely the best people. Margie says, yes, Cap saw the picture of my husband, took of me kissing one of our Hereford heifers, didn't make a true farmer after raising them from babies. Yep. They always tell us, don't get attached to your livestock. But boy, it's awful easy to do, isn't it, Margie? It's awful easy to do. Yeah. We've had in the past, I can remember in the past, we had farm animals that we became too attached to. And we, even after when they were butchered, we couldn't eat them. That meat had to have been sold or given to somebody because we couldn't personally eat it. No, because we knew it was that animal that we became attached to. Old man says in the Indian Ocean I caught a 93-pound bluefin tuna. It was the cook in the officer's mess, and I got to eat it with the CO and XO and other officers. Awesome, old man. Awesome, that's sweet. Yeah. We had two hogs that we raised, and we named them Lenny and Squiggy. And I had to hide the fact from my kids that that's what they were eating. My ex and I, we decided, we took them off. When we slaughtered them, the kids weren't witness to it. So when we slaughtered them and butchered them, they weren't witness to it. As far as my kids were concerned, we traded our two pigs for two pigs that were cut up and butchered. So the two pigs we got from the butcher shop weren't Lenny and Squiggy. And we were fortunate successfully that our kids never had to go. They were so young at the time that they would have never understood. Because running water at that time was only like 5 years old, maybe 4 years old. Yeah, he was 4 because his youngest sister hadn't been born yet. Yeah, old man, that must have fought for a while. Bluefin tuna that size. Yeah, but that made your arms know they were alive. Oh, you ain't cranking a 93-pound fish without your arms going, I wish I was a pair of legs. There you go, Margie. See, I know exactly how you feel. I know exactly. Yeah, it was. Yeah, you just can't. You just can't. Boy, guys, we just hit the 2 hour mark. And I had told myself that I can never let a Sty Story Sunday go over 2 hours. There's Sty coming up with rules. Everybody's going, oh, that old fart. You know, this is like that stream that I had planned for 15-20 minutes and it went 3 hours. Last night's stream, I had no plan on how long it would go. But I just had a feeling it ain't gonna go much past midnight. No way. No way is it. 7 o'clock this morning. Well, 6 o'clock this morning here. I'm going, oh my gosh, we're gonna hit the 8 hour mark. That's insane. I'm sorry, folks, but I cannot let that happen here tonight. Running water it goes. Anarchy! Alright, are you all you folks going to revolt against Sty because he has to shut his stream down? And here's the biggest reason for tonight that I have to stick close to my rule is I still have tomorrow morning's video to finish and editing. I gotta cut, I gotta retake and get it done and get it posted so that it's popping up tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. My Monday and Thursday regular videos. So I got to finish that yet tonight. And then I've got some personal paperwork I got to get done so I don't have to deal with it. It's got to do with my retirement and get it done so I don't have to think about it. I want to walk away from this whole thing free. So if I don't get that stuff done in the next 2-3 hours, oh my gosh, Sty won't be worth it. Sty is just not going to be worth a dang tomorrow either. But I love these streams. I love having all these folks here. I'm going to look real quick at these last comments. Mr. Z says I fought a 34-pound tuna. I think I fought it for over 30 minutes. They're all muscle, amazing fish. Yeah, isn't that something? I watched them on the Atlantic coast bring in some tuna, and I saw them cutting them buggers, and I said, my God. And they're going, this is a nice fat one. I'm going, that ain't fat. That ain't fat. That's all muscle, that fish. And they said, well, no, you got to understand, that some have more fat than others. I said, oh, I don't get it. Well, then, just in the last few years, I've been watching Wild Tuna, that series, and now I understand what they were talking about. But that damn fish is just a big mussel with fins. Okay. Rodney says, I missed most of it, signed in, and fell right to sleep. Ate too much at the Outback. I can't fault you for that. If I went to the Outback, I'd have that same issue no matter what was going on. I could be sitting in the middle of a church choir and I'd fall asleep. I haven't been to an Outback in a long time. Yeah, Andy said you more than earned your seat at the office, in the officers' mess, old man. Oh yeah, I'm glad I bet you they felt he was the man of honor at the table that day. Margie says, thank you for this time. It's been a pleasure meeting everyone. May you all have a blessed day or night. And you too, Margie, you too. It was such a pleasure having you jumping in our stream and having Gemma in here. I know Margie knows Gemma. Both of you, yeah, you're very enlightening, and you're so warm. It's so nice to have you here. Thanks so much for coming. Okay, and then old man says, yes, Andy, and the cook did an excellent job. Well, he better. He had better of. All that work, getting that fish in. The cook messed it up. Guess what? The next thing on the menu is we'll put an apple in that cook's mouth. Mr. C saying good night, everyone. Take care. He's out of here. Good night, Mr. Z. Andy's saying good night to Margie. Wonderful. Plain old Chuck saying night to Gary. Rodney said good pork chop dinner. I bet. And Running Water saying night, Pops. Catch you next time. You betcha. Rodney says thanks, Sty, for the story. Did catch that much. Wonderful. All right, folks. Sty has got to shut down his stream. And I'm just stumbling. And don't forget, next week, Sty Story Sunday, every week from this point forward at 7 p.m. Central Time. And hope to see you all there. Bye-bye.